On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, Dusty Dvoracek joins us to preview OU-Tulane. Dusty will be on the call for ABC, so we get all of his insight on the matchup. In the National College Football Roundup, we preview some of the best games in Week 1, including Georgia-Clemson and Penn State-Wisconsin, and we finish up by giving you our winners and losers of the week. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right. Our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Thursday, September 2nd, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and your health and safety are Riverwind's #1 priorities. There are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, blackjack match, roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And Fridays in September from 6 p.m. to midnight, you can win your share of $80,000 in cash and bonus play in Riverwind's $80,000 Blitz and Bucks promotion. Drawings are every 30 minutes. If you need help finding your way, just visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, simply the one. Now we're recording this on Wednesday night. Please leave us a 5-star review and a nice comment while you're at it. Ted, college football season is upon us. Are you ready for the madness?
I'm ready. Yeah, it's madness already. Yes, but bring it on. Let's go. First game out of the chute. No big deal. Let's just relocate this sucker and play some football, right?
And with college football season comes more birthday shout out requests, Ted.
Yeah.
Happy 30th birthday to Ardmore, America's finest, Mr. Colton Hembry. Yes, you, Colton. Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. Good
Nice.
friends.
Welcome to the club. I'll be soon leaving and headed to the 4-0 club.
Oh,
yeah.
jeez.
Couple months
31
left
this month. Yikes. I'm getting old, man.
I'll be 40 in November. It's painful to even think about.
Okay,
brutal.
Let's get to OU football stuff before we get too sad. Okay, I did want to start off with this. And we've got our man Dusty Dvoracek. He'll be on the call for the OU-Tulane game, so we're going to preview the game with him. A lot of fun, as usual, with our man Dusty. But I know a lot of OU fans are wondering how they can help, right? How can they help the people in the state of Louisiana? And Tulane is endorsing GNOF.org. That is GNOF.org. So if you want to help in a monetary way by donating money to Hurricane Ida relief, that is the site that Tulane is endorsing. There will also be an in-stadium donation option for fans at the game, Ted. And I really hope there's like some sort of bar, like a bar graph.
Yeah, we're up there on the scoreboard that's constantly moving. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope they do that. I hope they work in a graphic with it, because I don't know what it is about those graphics. People lose their damn minds when you could see it growing. I hope we get to do one of those.
If you really want people to donate, you need one of those little quarter machines, where it's like sliding the quarter off the edge.
So I'm sure OU fans are going to donate in a big way for our friends Tulane coming. I know it's going to be a weird atmosphere, right? Because I think everyone is trying to support all those players from Tulane, especially a lot of guys on that roster from the state of Louisiana. So I think going to be a little bit of a weird energy in the stadium, but OU fans know natural disasters, and I got a feeling they're going to donate a whole lot of money to Hurricane Ida relief. I guess we got to start with the DOE stuff, right?
Yeah.
Rumors swirling, bad rumors swirling. The letters ACL being thrown around there. Now, I will fully admit I have not asked anyone about this. I tend to stay clear of injuries. I don't know. I get weird about that for the most part. I will say this. He injured that foot, right? In spring. Remember, we all saw him on the cart at the spring game. Just from personal experience, it is not that difficult to re-injure a foot. I've done it, especially if it's that fifth metatarsal in your foot. I re-broke mine. It was not a very fun experience. I don't know if that's what it is. I'm just hoping that Theo Weiss is only missing a couple of weeks and not the whole season, Ted.
Yeah, you never know with a foot if that's what it is. I think the ACL thing got thrown around, and I think anytime someone's hurt, that's like the first thing that people think about. So I don't know if that's how that kind of got going. The foot would make a lot of sense. You can have a midfoot sprain. You can have, like you said, broken bones. There's no telling what it is. And, I would guess that at best we're talking about he misses a couple of weeks. At worst, obviously misses the season. So, and it's a hit, man. We've had a string of bad luck, man. And we really have. We keep finding new ways for guys to miss games. I mean, we've kind of hit every possible way throughout this offseason. So I'm hoping it's something that's not bad, that he can fight back from, maybe miss a handful of weeks. You just don't know. I'll say this, the wide receiver core, there's a lot of good talent there, but there's a heck of a lot of unknown. There really is. I feel comfortable with the spot, but outside of Mims now and a handful of other guys, we've got a lot of question marks going out there. Guys that you think could take care of the job and highly talented guys, but still unknown.
Yeah, when you look at it with Weiss missing some time, you're expecting, a guy like Jaden Hazelwood to step up. You're expecting a guy like Mike Woods, who, we've heard really good things about. You're expecting him to step up and make plays. So it's just an opportunity for those guys. I mean, that's one of the rough things about football is it is next man up, right, when you're injured. So we'll see. I am interested to see what the rotation looks like at outside receiver in this opener. So we'll see, but clearly hoping for the best there for Theo Weiss and his health, Ted. So, Ted, when the season starts, you and I, we start doing a bunch of OU TV stuff, and it's really fun because we actually get to talk to the coaches and kind of pick their brains on some things. And on Wednesday, I did Coach's Corner and got to talk to Grinch and Beadenbow, and a little few nuggets from those conversations. We asked Bill about like, hey, give us a guy on the defense that is kind of flying under the radar and that has stood out to him leading up to this game. And I thought his response was very interesting because his response was Kelvin Gilliam. And it just made me go, well, the offensive line coach knows a little bit about defensive line play. Now, Beadenbow went on to say, hey, he's not sure how much he's going to play in the near future, but he did say he thinks that guy has everything it takes to be an elite player on the defensive line. That got me excited. I know we're worried about this year, but he basically was like, hey, that guy is going to be a dude.
It's crazy, right? Grinch is talking about playing 14 defensive linemen, if you include defensive ends and rush backers. And Kelvin Gilliam's not a name that we've really heard. So it's like, how deep does it go? I mean, honestly, one of the younger guys, big body, long arm guy. So yeah, it's exciting, man. The more the merrier. I love it that these names keep getting thrown out at us as far as pass rushers, guys on that defensive line.
Yeah, another takeaway from Beadenbow, Tyrese Robinson had as good of a training camp as anyone did, especially when it comes to offensive line. So honestly, I'm starting to think that OU is more stable at right tackle than left tackle. In fact, I feel comfortable saying that now. Tyrese Robinson, he doesn't have the ideal length you want at tackle. I mean, he just doesn't, but he's been very, very consistent for them. Like, they know what they're going to get from him at the tackle position, which is why he's going to start at right tackle on Saturday. Now, you look at left tackle. Anton Harrison missed like 8 or 10 practices to start training camp with an ankle. I mean, he's just missed time, and he missed time in spring, right, with the groin. So this is a young guy who has all the talent in the world. He's just been banged up a lot. And then Wanye Moore, same thing, has missed some time, has shown some inconsistency. One name that keeps coming up, and I know for whatever reason, OU fans give him the hardest time ever, but Eric Switson is going to be a factor on this offensive line. He may play some tackle, he may play some guard, but I do think this first game, like, they're looking for a guy to take the job at left tackle. So that's a spot I'm going to be focused on Saturday, man.
Yeah. I honestly don't know how to feel about it. The depth chart came out this late afternoon, early evening, and there's a whole bunch of oars on there. Pretty much every position has an oar. It actually has Wanye Morris playing right tackle on the depth chart.
Yeah, he's been working at both, so we'll see.
So
but
I think, but saying what you said there with Tyrese Robinson feeling like he's locked down the right, I'm with you. There's a rotation of guys there, which early in the season, not that big of a deal, but at some point you want to find your guys and lock it up. It's not ideal, the situation right now, but as you've said throughout the offseason, they like their pieces. So I'm still rolling with that.
Let's hope they can put them together. I'm just wondering, and I don't know why Eric Swinson gets such a hard time, but I'm just wondering what some OU fans' reaction was when they saw his name at the top of the depth chart at left tackle. I can only imagine. He's a solid player. Leave the kid alone, people. Just leave him alone. But
I've been fighting the battle too. You got to keep in mind that about 95% of the snaps that he's been out there have been while he's battling some type of serious injury, right? So if he's healthy, you would think that it stands to reason he would play a lot better, more solid football.
Yeah, and one other thing that I thought was interesting that Alex Grinch told us was Caleb Kelly's going to play outside backer, right? They were looking for a way to get him on the field. He was not going to get snaps at inside linebacker, and they thought that he could kind of go back to what he did earlier in his career there at Oklahoma. That's just, hey, play the edge, set the edge in the run game, rush the passer, and they feel like they found a place for him. He's one of the guys that is easily one of the most likable dudes on the team, right? He was voted captain for a reason. The fan base loves him, but it does sound like he could play some significant snaps on the edge, Ted. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, you think about how busy the room is at inside backer. There's only 2 spots. They've got a lot of capable guys there. It's hard to get playing time. He never really got a bunch of time at inside backer. His more natural feel does seem to be at the rush spot, at the edge spot. Here's the thing. Benito is going to be fantastic this year, but he's not going to be a 75, 80 snap guy. He's not. He's going to be more about a 45 to 50 snap guy. So there's going to be some time in there for someone to step in and get some good reps, meaningful reps out there. And Caleb Kelly's got a chance to fight for that spot.
Yeah, and there's going to be so much competition in the secondary, and that competition, I believe, Ted, is going to go throughout the entire season. Just with the way the Grinch is making it sound, they're looking for more consistency at corner. They've had guys that have shown flashes, made big plays. We've all seen some of the highlights. He wants consistency. Man, I think Woody Washington has been the most consistent guy leading up to the season. Now, he doesn't have the size and the length that some of the other guys have, but they want guys that are going to play the same, snap in and snap out. You know, when a guy makes a great play and then all of a sudden busts, that is a quick way to get pulled off the field. I mean, you just can't have that, especially at corner, man.
Yeah. No, you can't. They ask a lot of their corners. It's a tough conference for corner. There's some big, very capable wide receivers with good quarterbacks throwing them the ball, good schemes. So it's a tough spot. But yeah, consistency's been an issue for them. Now, just talking with them, it's like one day a guy looks like an All-American. The next day, you know, giving up balls, having middle bust, not showing up ready to play. You know, you hope that whenever you get into live bullets, live action, that everyone like really tightens up the screws. But it is a problem, and it's really, if you were to ask what the biggest question mark is defensively to the coaches, then that's probably what they would say is consistency at corner right now.
Yeah, so there's going to be guys competing still. I know that it's the first game. Nothing is set in stone. Remember that, people, that it's constant competition, especially I think on the defensive side of the ball and along the offensive line. This is going to be a constant evaluation, especially early in the season. Okay, Ted, season's back. So for our Call Your Shot, we're asking for the bold predictions for the game. So we got some good ones from the listeners. This one comes from our man, Drew Gastineau. He's always chiming in on the Call Your Shots. And he said, Teddy's boy Stutzman leads the team in tackles on Saturday.
Well, I definitely think he's going to play, and he's probably going to play quite a bit, especially if the football game goes the way you think it will. He's got an opportunity, man. He does. Big kid, rangy. He can run. He'll strike you. You know, through training camp, he was playing both the Mike and the Will spot. I think now that they've gotten into regular season, he's going to dial in more at the Mike. Deshaun White's going to be like your backup at both of those spots. Should something catastrophic go down, he would be the guy that they would, you know, be the next step in. But, you know, in regular game rotation, whenever you got your starters out there, I expect Stutzman to be a guy that plays quite a bit.
You're so excited about him. You're so excited.
I'm excited about everyone. Honestly, I'm more excited about the possibilities at defensive line than I am anything on the defense. That's where it all starts right there. If those guys play the way we think, a lot of other things kind of just take care of themselves.
You cannot have a badass defense without having a badass defensive line. Them's the rules, man. That's just how it works. So I'm with you. I can't wait to watch that front seven play. Okay, this one comes from Jason Moore on Twitter. He says, Jaden Knowles leads the team in rushing. Not the craziest thing I've ever heard, right? Yeah. Especially, hey, if Sooners get out to a big lead, we could see some Weatherman J for maybe the entire second half, something like that. Could get quite a few carries. I don't think that's crazy, Ted.
Well, I think one of the most important things coming out of this game, we obviously you want to play well, not get anyone injured, you know, all of those things. But outside of that, I think Lincoln wants to find out who that number 3 guy is and who can be relied upon to go in games when you've got a lead late, carry the rock, make smart decisions, stay in bounds, hang on to the football, understand the blitz pickup schemes and stuff. So I think that's actually a pretty smart pick, because Lincoln, knowing he's got 2 guys, he's not going to ride those 2 guys into the ground. He's going to try and figure out who that 3rd guy is. So I think that's actually a decent little pick.
Yeah, we'll see whether it's Todd Hudson, Weatherman Jay. We'll see if Jeremiah Hall gets any carries. That's going to be something that we definitely keep an eye on. Okay, last one comes from our man Kurt Crawford. He says Bowman scores on defense or special teams. Mark it down.
Okay. If that happens, I think we'll all be just glowing in the post game, right? I mean, that's.
Do you remember my reaction to Marvin Mims last year after the opener?
Yeah, you said it'd be a first rounder.
That's what I said. If Bowman does something like that, I'm telling you, I'm bringing the same energy to the post game.
Yeah, I know they're excited about him. I know he's got all the tools. I can't wait to see him play because I've only seen a little bit of action from him in the spring game. And, he was just getting kind of settled in at that spot. So I can't wait to see what he brings.
Yeah. I mean, that is a kid that found the weight room in the spring, found it again in the summer. And man, the coaches are high on that dude. And I will say this, I've got a feeling this team is going to have some dynamic punt returns this year.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just a feeling, man. I think we're going to see some big returns from the punt return game.
Well, I said this last night with T-Row. Special teams needs to be a weapon for this football team. If they're going to compete with the big boys, if they're going to go into a semifinal or maybe even a national championship game, special teams cannot be a liability. We've got way too many guys, too much talent standing on the sideline to go out there and have teams come out and routinely beat us in special teams. That's got to be a weapon. We've got to start having special teams make a difference in football games on the good side.
Third phase of the game. Okay, Ted, let's get to our OU-Tulane preview with our man, Dusty Dvoracek. But First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all, whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone. Everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. First Fidelity Bank also provides free ATMs worldwide, making banking convenient wherever you are. They also give back to the community. FFB donates a total of more than $500,000 to local charities and educational foundations. Make your life easier and go bank at First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information. There's one on the way to the stadium. Just go to that one. Go to that one, people. And make sure you send your kids to Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School. Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School has a long tradition of educational excellence. With a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, no student is overlooked. Bishop McGinnis's college prep curriculum offers 22 AP courses. There are numerous clubs and organizations for students to join, and as a proud member of the OSSAA, there are 14 sports offered. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, contact Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available. All right, here he is. Here's Dusty Dvoracek. It is our pleasure to be joined by the man that will be on the call 11 a.m. ABC for OU-Tulane. You can also catch him every weekday morning on SiriusXM Channel 84 with everyone's favorite Danny Cannell. Dusty and Danny in the morning. According to them, the fastest growing radio show in all of radio. Is that the line, right?
That's what they say. It cannot be confirmed or denied, but it's what I've been told, so I'm just going to go with it. What's up, fellas?
Not a lot. I caught the show this morning. What's Danny? You said he's off getting Botox or something. You guys were joking.
I think it was Manny Petty Day. He's getting close to 50 now, so my guy's got to take care of himself. A little R&R, and he says he's not going to miss another day for the rest of the season. We'll see if that happens. Okay. Has Sooner Nation forgiven him? Did you know?
No. What do you mean?
He had to. I don't know if did you hear the version of Boomer Sooner that he sang on our show?
It was delightful.
It was something. I was trying to help him. I was trying to be that, get to give that olive branch between Sooner Nation and him. And not only did he not accept, I think he just tried to dig in a little bit more. But what I will say though, is I haven't heard many people as high on the Sooners in the national media as him. He loves the Sooners. He's got them as number one in the country starting the season, and he thinks they're going to win a national championship. So You can be upset with him all you want about the softball comments. I'm sure he loves that. But in reality, he's a big fan of Oklahoma football, and he's a very big fan of this team in particular. So you can hate him all you want, but I think on some level, you might start to love him a little bit because he might be your biggest fan out there in the national media.
He made some lifelong enemies out of some OU fans.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Well, what do you think, man? Danny likes him. What do you think of the Sooners?
I think the Sooners are going to be really good. I've got them going to the national championship game. I think they can win a national championship this year. All the ingredients are there. I mean, you guys know that. We've all talked about it off air, but, offensive line's a question for me. I really want to see them be improved. I think overall, I'm gonna kind of tangent from offensive line and just running game. Like, that's the one aspect. Obviously, now it's just 2 scholarship running backs. Eric Gray, who I think is going to be outstanding, especially catching the football. And then Kennedy Brooks back. Lincoln Riley's offense, as much as we praise him about being a quarterback guru and scheming people up, and he is that, he also loves to run the football. And I think that's a big part of what makes his offense so difficult to defend. And I just question, can they run the football as effectively when they need to? And I'm not talking about in the Big 12. I'm talking about in the playoff. I'm talking about a national championship game. So there's a long way to go before you get there. There's a lot of opportunities to get better and improve throughout the course of the season. That would be, as we sit here, though, my biggest concern, just the overall running game. But as I've said 1,000 times, I do think Bill Bedenbaugh is as good as there is in college football at the offensive line. I think DeMarco Murray is a heck of a running backs coach. So they've got the coaches in place. They've got good talent there. We just need to see it. But there's just really not a lot of holes on this team. Spencer Rattler, I think he's going to have a phenomenal season. I think they have plenty of pass catchers when you include the tight ends and H-backs. And then defensively, I think they got a chance to be a top 5, top 10 defense in all college football. So, and then all of a sudden you get maybe the best punter in America, like 9th inning. Oh, here you go. Here's Mr. Turk. I think somebody asked, we talked with both Oklahoma and Tulane today, and somebody asked if Turk was gonna be the punter, and the laugh from Lincoln Riley was pretty funny. I mean, this guy, I guess he's like a real weapon. Like, I mean, the guy can just absolutely launch the football. So, it's a well-coached team with a lot of talent. I think it's the most complete team Oklahoma's had. I would say probably going back to 08, if not maybe, Teddy, some of the teams you and I played on. I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about one of the better all-around Sooner football teams heading into a season in the last 20 years. So the stage is set. Now you just got to go out there and play, because as a coach told me this week, talking season's over, baby. It's time to play some football.
Yeah, and they're going to play some football in Norman this weekend. All 3 of us, we were expecting to go to New Orleans. Unfortunate circumstances, right, with that devastating hurricane down in the state of Louisiana, Dusty. But you were able to talk to players from Tulane and that coaching staff. Let's start with Tulane's offense. This is a team that maybe a lot of people don't know. They led the American Athletic Conference in rushing last season. And I look at that backfield. What do you think of the Tajay Spears guy? I know he got hurt last year, but seems like a productive player at the running back position for the Green Wave.
So first off, man, just thoughts, prayers go out to everybody in that area. I mean, they were devastated. Talking to Willie Fritz today, they may be in Birmingham for the next couple of weeks, y'all. Like that,
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, so it's just, I just really think about those people and how still vibrant and just still thankful for the opportunity to play coaches and players were today. I was just like, wow, you want to talk about being handed a really tough situation. I mean, they had to go to Tuscaloosa yesterday just to practice because there was lightning in the area, and Coach Saban allowed them in their indoor just so they could get a practice in. I mean, what they're dealing with right now, yet they're still really fired up to come to Norman and play this football game. I just tip my cap to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're dealing with devastation in their backyard at their home. So the way that they've been able to roll with the punches, adapt and adjust on the fly, I think it's commendable. And we should definitely keep that in perspective, I think, all throughout the weekend. I think that the fact that Oklahoma, the administration there, the administration at Tulane found a way to make this game happen, which did become in question, and all the proceeds are going to go to help all those people that need it back in New Orleans and Greater Louisiana. I think all that's awesome. So I want to just start there before we get into the football, because there is elements of this that's bigger than the football. And we should mention that, and we should keep that in mind. On the field, this is who Willie Fritz is. People don't know who Willie Fritz is. Willie Fritz, a head coach at Tulane, going into his 6th season. And by the way, he's got the chance to do something this year that's never been done in the history of the school, make 4 straight bowl games. This is not a pushover bunch of chumps coming into Norman. It's a good football team. They made 3 straight bowl games. But Willie Fritz's background is option football. At the FCS level, it's where he really cut his teeth until he got an opportunity at Division I with Tulane. And he's morphed and changed. You're not going to see true traditional triple option like he was running. But he is all about all of his football teams run the football. That's what they want to do. That's who they are. Last year, they averaged 217 yards a game. The offensive line is solid. I think they're much better run blockers than pass blockers. I really like the center, Sincere Haynesworth. I think he does a good job moving around, getting leverage, and the interior guys can play pretty well. The bulk of their offensive line is back intact, and they're a solid unit. I do think the edge is a little soft, which could be problematic in the throw game against some of the quality pass rushers Oklahoma presents. But the running backs, Oklahoma take a couple of them right now. And for me, it starts with 20 Cam Carroll. This dude looks like an SEC running back. He had 12 rushing touchdowns last year. He is huge. He is physical. He runs through arm tackles. He's got open field speed. They like the inside zone. They like the outside zone. They run some counter and counter read. I question against this defensive front. They get so much penetration. If they'll run some of that slow developing stuff, that could be very problematic. But they really like to get on edges. Good H-back/tight ends. Tyreek James and Will Wallace do a good job helping set that edge. So they are dedicated and they want to run the football. But I really like Cam Carroll, and I also like 22 Tyjae Spears. As you mentioned, banged up early last year. And, Hudderson, Amari Jones kind of stepped in and took over. But these 2 guys are really talented. Tyjae Spears, more of a can do a little bit of everything, versatility, catches the ball in the backfield. He's more of a space player, going to make you miss, whereas Carroll is just more of a power. So it's kind of their speed. I don't know if it's speed and lightning because Carroll's got speed too, but they've got a nice complement of running backs in that backfield with a solid offensive line. Michael Pratt, the quarterback. So I had them in their 2nd game of the season against Navy last year, way early. It was right after, if you guys remember, Navy got their break speed off of them by BYU in that opener. Didn't tackle, didn't hit, and they came back, and they actually pulled off an unbelievable comeback and won against Tulane on a walk-off field goal. And in that game, Michael Pratt didn't play. No one even knew really who he was. He's a true freshman. Well, a couple of games later, he was inserted, and it changed the outlook of their season. And he's a mobile quarterback. He's not going to wow you with speed, but he is a better athlete than what you're going to think. I think he has good natural vision and the ability to get yards. And they're going to run, like I said, in the read game. They're going to do that. They also have some design quarterback run, quarterback lead, quarterback counter. And that's going to be a part of what they do. And he's going to tuck it and run it at times whenever he's under duress. But he can throw it, man. Like, he can actually stand in there. And last year, I was watching last night, Memphis, their final regular season game. And then I was watching them against Nevada in their bowl game. And he really developed some good timing with his wide receivers. Throws coming out of his hand when the receivers are at the top of their stem in their breaks, and the ball's right there on the money. So, this is a solid quarterback that you would anticipate he's going to continue to develop and get better and better. New offensive coordinator they have. They had Will Hall, who took a head coaching job. They bring in Chip Long, who was at Tennessee last year, but prior to that, he was the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame for Brian Kelly for 3 years. Very similar scheme to what they had ran a season ago, but you might see a little bit of tempo. There might see a little bit of pace, move it up and down depending on how the game goes. But that is something that this new offensive coordinator brings. And outside, they've got a couple of weapons, man, like 2 Deuce Watts. He's smooth route runner, catches the football. 4 Jaquan Jackson, very similar. I don't want to say that these guys are just flat out burners and you have to be terrified of them. But again, it's a good measuring stick game for this Oklahoma defense that I think all agree is going to be very good because this is a running football team that has the ability to throw it. And I watched them against Memphis. They morph from a team that just wants to line up and run it So they spread you out and throw it all over the yard. So depending on where they want to attack you or how they think they can, exploit your defense, they do have the ability, I think, to mix it up, run and pass. And overall, I just think it's a solid offense that's going to be a good test for this Oklahoma defense.
How about defensively? They didn't get off to the greatest start last year. They gave up some big point totals there at the early and middle points of the season. But really the last 5 games kind of got their act together, started playing really good, had a good performance there against Memphis that you mentioned, the season finale. Just got edged out by Tulsa in a double overtime game. What are we going to see from them on that side of the ball?
Their defensive line, they could get after the Q last year. Like, they could rush the passer. They had a kid named Cameron Sample, played in the Senior Bowl as a draft pick. He's gone. And then Patrick Johnson was their other best rush in. So they're going to have to replace, a lot of productivity off the defensive line. They got a nose tackle, Jeffrey Johnson. He's a big dude. He's probably goes 325, 330, which I do think he'll challenge that center position. No Creed Humphrey. That is one of the big question marks that we're going to see going into this. He's the veteran of the group. They also have a guy named Dorcius who transferred over from Memphis, active player, not going to wow you with size, but he's a good, solid football player. And after that, they're very young up front. Like, that is the one area. This is why I say, you would expect Oklahoma to be able to win the line of scrimmage. Like, if this is going to be another classic Bill Bedenbaugh good offensive line, I just think with the youth they have up front, there should be some opportunities. The strength of this defense is the linebackers. They do have a couple of solid linebackers. I think Nick Anderson, Marvin Moody, Dorian Williams, even Kevin Henry. These are some guys that solid backers, good size, good speed, get to the football. They feel that is the heart and soul of their defense. And, a couple of good guys on the back end, but really, I think overall you hit it on the head, Teddy. I mean, they had some good moments last year. They had some, what are we doing moments last year. And I think all in all, they're going to be solid and, but this is a team that's led by their offense. So there should be some opportunities, especially up front for this offensive line to take advantage. They also have a new defensive coordinator, Chris Hampton. He was at Duke last year, but he was at Tulane prior to that as the defensive backs coach for 4 or 5 years. And he got the opportunity to come back. He did it in a second and talk with him. This will be his first game to ever call defense. Well, that's a tough putt, isn't it? Wow. Your first time to call plays against Lincoln Riley. Oh boy, that's a chess match you might not want to be a part of. But he was fired up today, man. He got me excited. Like, he was like fired up. I mean, and genuinely, you could tell he respects the heck out of Coach Riley. He respects the heck out of this Oklahoma offense, but he's also chomping at the bit. He's an eager, brand new defensive coordinator who wants to take a shot. And on one hand, you can look at it and say, man, that's a tall order, but what if you take your shot and you hit? So I really enjoyed talking with him, and you could feel his enthusiasm. And based off what he said, they had a great week of practice. He said, even given all the other outside things and moving around and not having all of your, not having all your equipment at your disposal, he still felt that they got the preparation they needed to come into Norman and play good defense. So that's clearly an area of the ball that they'd like to improve on. From a personnel standpoint, we'll see if they can get there. And again, very tall task out of the chute, dealing with Lincoln Riley, Spencer Rattler, and this Oklahoma offense.
Well, that's about as thorough of a breakdown as you're going to get of Tulane's entire football team. Right?
Isn't that what you guys wanted? Isn't that what you brought me on here for?
That's
I've been studying this tape. I've been reading. I got it all for you. So you asked for it.
What uniforms are we going to wear? I mean, are we throwing an alternate out there or something? Come on.
I have no idea on that. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Who's going to be the home team? Who's going to be the away team? Maybe you guys are more privy to that than me. It was a question on the call today, and they weren't quite sure. So maybe that's something to keep an eye on. But
I think it would be awesome to see him at home in the all white, the road whites. That would be pretty cool.
And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I do think, though, there was, at least from our side, it was not something asked on the call to either coaching staff, to any of the players, but it was something that we talked about as a crew. Our producer kind of let us know that is still somewhat up in the air. That could be in question. So stay tuned on exactly if it's road or if it's home unis for the Sooners on Saturday afternoon.
It's got to be. It's going to be the Road Whites. It's got to be. I mean, you have the chance.
If you
You
have an
finally have the
opportunity, you should
chance to
take it.
rock the best uniform in college football. At home, you got to do it, Dusty. I don't care if only the lower bowl's going to be filled. They got to do it. They got the opportunity to do it. They have to do it.
I say go for it. You know, I love the Road Whites, obviously. I will say, though, as a fat guy, it doesn't hide the jiggle very well. You know what I'm saying? Which I kind of embraced the jiggle back in the day, so I can't say that it bothered me. Road Whites are pretty nasty. That would be odd, though, right? To see the Road Whites at home on Owen Field. That'd be like a double take. And by the way, somebody asked me the other day what the capacity was for the lower bowl. I said my guess is between 50 and 55,000. Do you guys know?
I think it's got to be more than that, right? Is there 30,000 in the upper decks?
I have no idea. I guess 55, and I was told, oh, it's got to be way too high. So I was like, I don't know, 50 to 55,000. But
I would have guessed 65.
65? You think only 20 up top?
Yeah, but
I just have no idea.
The one side is seat backs, which you don't hold as many, and the other side is just, I don't know what, 30 to 30 or 20.
If only we knew some people at the University of Oklahoma and we could just ask.
I'll guarantee you on the broadcast, we'll have an attendance. I know this. I think it's still going to be a great venue. I think that even with just the lower bowl, I think it's still going to be loud. I think it's still – I'm sorry. I just can't wait to see full stadiums, dude. I mean, I went around last year, and I don't know if you guys dealt with this, but I went into empty stadiums.
Think of it. We got two freshmen from last year, and then this group of freshmen have never seen an environment like that. It's going to be crazy for second-year guys to finally see their home place rocking.
I'm happy for those guys. I'm happy for the fans, man. I'm happy that they can get back in the stadium, and Oklahoma fans, obviously, but fans all over the country. I mean, this is what people live for, right? This is what college football fans and people that love the sport and love game days and the passion, the pageantry, the tailgating, like that's a religion. That's a religion for Oklahoma Sooner fans, for the top fans and all of college football. And, you say this all the time about anything in life. You sometimes take for granted what you have until it's taken from you. That was taken from everybody last year. And so I have to imagine the level of excitement and the level of appreciation to get that back this year is going to be palpable in Norman and college campuses and stadiums all over the country this weekend. And I just absolutely love it.
Before we let you go, do you want to explain to everyone that will be watching the game at home that you are going to be playing through pain, that you are going to be announcing through pain, that you're going to be a tough guy? Do you want to talk about it or not?
I mean, why not, right? I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? So what Gabe is talking about, I don't even know. Is it? Do I talk about this? You just have fun with it? Show us.
A lot of people watch this on YouTube now, man. Show them the tooth.
We want to. What tooth? It's gone. Okay.
I kind of saw that a second ago. You turned a little bit to the side, and I thought I saw like a
tooth.
What do you mean?
Oh,
so
that's so good.
Gabe, you and I did Sirius XM Big 12 today on Sirius XM Big 12 Radio, and we talked about this. So it's not like, and I think I'll probably talk about it tomorrow morning. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. You know what? No, I got no secrets. So I didn't go to the dentist much as a kid. We didn't have what you'd like to call dental health care in my house. That was a little bit above our pay grade. So apparently I had a baby tooth that never, the papa tooth, the adult tooth is up here, up in my gum tissue. And I guess it never came down the way it's supposed to come down. So baby tooth just wanted to hang out, play. He's like, yo, what's up? I can play with the big guys. And I never really thought about it. And then once I started getting into TV, like Ted, you've known me, you've known me for 20 years. I bet before I got it fixed, if you did notice it, you never said anything. No one ever like said anything, but I had a baby tooth and it's my canine. And once I started doing TV, it drove me nuts because it was a minuscule little guy, just a tiny little guy. So I had my dentist give me a crown, and the dentist cemented the crown right on the baby tooth, and it looked great. I mean, it was just phenomenal. Well, here in the last week or so, crown started loosening up on me a little bit. And then yesterday, it got really loose. And then today, well, here you go, YouTubers.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what happened was baby tooth had to go to the tooth fairy. You know what I'm saying? baby tooth couldn't make it any longer. So I went to the dentist today, and I have a great dentist. By the way, shout out Jeffrey Austin in Norman. He is amazing. And I'm getting in tomorrow morning at 9:30, and I'm going through what can only be described as an extensive procedure. And he told me I'm going to be in the chair for a minimum of 3 hours, which I hate the dentist. I love him right now because he's going to fix me up. And he says he's going to have me looking better than ever. So after about 12:30 tomorrow, I'm hopeful that you'll never have to see this again, but it is what it is. So for everybody at home, two things. Make sure your children brush their teeth, okay? And number two, take them to the dentist. And if there's something going on, like this thing should have been fixed when I was a kid. I should have braces, should have brought the thing down, and we'd never be dealing with this. But now I'm like 48 hours out before I'm doing a game or whatever we are, just over 48 hours before we have kickoff, and I'm missing one of the most prominent teeth in my mouth. So let's all pray for Jeffrey Austin to work his magic so that I don't have to go out there looking like a hockey player on national TV and call this game between Oklahoma and Tulane.
Oh, I love it. Let's go, Jeff. You got this. Come on, get some good sleep tonight.
I sent him a picture earlier whenever it popped out, and he just sent like the laughing, crying emojis. I'm like, damn. It's like that.
Yeah. I'm glad you think it's so funny. I'm going on TV in a couple of days. That's
so I was coaching my kids flag football earlier. We were working on some man schemes, working on some cover 2, some cover 4. And then my middle linebacker says, "Hey, what's wrong with your mouth?" I was like, "What are you looking at?" Like, you keep those comments to yourself, young man. So even the 9 and 10-year-olds outed me and saw that there is a big gaping hole there in the top of my my mouth. So there you go, Gabe. Does that make you happy? I know ever since earlier today, you've been waiting for this moment. You've been waiting, and especially because earlier it was still in my mouth. It was just jiggling around. And the moment I sent you that picture,
out there though, man, or else a lot of people are going to be watching the show on YouTube and be like, what the hell's going on with Dusty's mouth?
Well, I could have just stayed right behind this new beautiful microphone I had.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Nobody could ever see
great.
it, but
I'll tell you that.
Sounds fantastic.
Sounds awesome.
Let's just, to hell with what it sounds like. Let's just hope that the grill is looking good. And I haven't even thought about what this is going to cost me, because I can assure you this 3-hour procedure ain't cheap, but you know what? I guess having teeth in your mouth, it costs a little bit of money these days. So we're just going to go ahead and stroke the check, whatever it is.
You are the man, Dusty.
I'm the toothless man. Hey, from now on, next time I come on the pod, which you guys need to have me on more often, but the next time I come on the pod, maybe I just go by call sign Toothless. You know what I'm saying?
I like it.
I think Toothless is, I'm a toothless tiger these days. No more is it the 305-pound, long-haired badass. Now
nipple
it's just
rings.
the toothless.
Don't forget the nipple
toothless
rings.
Tiger. Well, nipple rings, they were there.
Well, I still got those, maybe.
Well, I got the hole there. I got the hole. I got the nipple that's still about 4 times the size of the other one. I think it was last year. I stuck one of, just to see if you still could. I stuck one of my wife's earrings through there, and I'll be darned, that hole doesn't ever close up. Still right there, primed and ready.
And on that note, Dusty Dvoracek, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, have a good time on the call, man. It's we'll see you Saturday.
I will see you Saturday. You guys have a great call as well. Should be a phenomenal venue for college football, and everybody's just excited to be back. And just final thing, give a standing ovation to the Tulane Green Wave like you've never given an ovation before. They deserve it. They need it. They've been through hell and their families back home. So, again, it's great that this game is happening, and it's great that there's an extra home game for the merchants in Norman, for these fans to be able to come support their team. But just remember that football program and the people around it have been dealing with a lot. So I say give them as good of an Oklahoma welcome as you possibly can. And then once the game starts, give them heck like you always do.
Absolutely, man. Thanks.
All right, boys.
Fired up. Always fired up when our man Dusty is on the call. But just a reminder, listen to the OU radio broadcast instead of him and Dave Pash. Just a reminder. Just a reminder.
It's going to be a fun crew. And if you get to call your alma mater at home as an opener. Now, everyone likes New Orleans. Obviously, that would have been cool too, but so cool. Going to be a lot of fun.
I will say this, and no one tell Dusty I said this. When he is on the call of an OU game, he does a great job of not letting the Crimson and Cream show too much. He does it. That has to be so hard, man. It really is impressive how he's able to kind of hide the homerism. It is. I'm not sure I could do that. I'm not sure.
It's hard to hide, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because you know what people are still going to say. Oh yeah, Homer, of course. Yeah, boy, you couldn't tell who he was rooting for in the game. But people say that no matter what. Even if someone has zero connection to either team, every fan base is like, well, God, they're basically cheering for Ohio State to win this one.
Yeah. Oh, it's a thankless job. All right, let's get to the National College Football Roundup. But first, do you own a business? If you do, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. Insurica's clients become best-in-class businesses by working with Insurica's team of advisors to manage risk. Purchasing insurance is only one way to protect your business. Best-in-class businesses win by avoiding a loss in the first place. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. I'm an Insurica client, and you should be too. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com. And guys, the season is here, and you know what that means. It's hard seltzer season, baby. And there's only one hard seltzer that we drink on this podcast, and that is Will and Wiley Hard Seltzer from Coop Ale Works. It's perfect for any occasion. We drink it by the pool, at the lake, and if you're drinking at the tailgate, tag us. Let us know. Let us see it. Enjoy those Will and Wileys while they last. That's all I'm saying. It's made in Oklahoma. It's absolutely delicious. Go find it right now in the store near you, and go follow them on social media at Will and Wiley. Okay, Ted, here's the plan for the season. National College Football Roundup. On the Thursday episode, we preview the other best games. On the Monday episode, we recap the other best games. It's simple. We're simple people. This is how we roll.
So we won't be talking about, other than when they play OU, no more Nebraska. They're out after
They're out.
the week 0
They are
game.
so out. Unless they knock someone off, they are so out. But we will start in the Big Ten. Number 19, Penn State at number 12, Wisconsin. And, man, this one feels like it's going to come down to quarterback play. And I know this isn't the best way to put it, but in my mind, it all comes down to who will suck less, Sean Clifford or Graham Mertz. Both guys that have had some inconsistencies, right? Especially Mertz last year. We thought he was going to win the Heisman to start the season, and then there were some games he was flat out bad. So both those guys have something to prove. Now, I like Jahan Dotson from Penn State, but I'm just not sure I trust Sean Clifford to get him the football. We'll see if the Clemson transfer, Ches Malusi, can get that Wisconsin running game back to what we are used to seeing from it. They did not run the football that well last year, which was one of the more shocking things in all of college football. Now, last season was weird for a lot of people. but I do think Wisconsin's defense is going to be solid. The game's in Madison. That is a hostile environment. I like the Badgers.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, talking about last year, it's fascinating because no one in the Big Ten really was themselves, other than Nebraska getting pounded by everyone. But it was weird. Penn State was terrible. Indiana was good. Wisconsin was weird. It was such an off year in the Big Ten. And Penn State, I feel like I don't know what to think. Watching them last year, they were so out of it. Are they going to be more what Franklin has built there, where it was a good, consistent football team year in, year out? And then you kind of, after last year, you throw all that out and be like, no, they're just terrible. They're not any good. So I'm interested to see what Penn State actually looks like. But for all the reasons you talked about, I like Wisconsin. I like them at home. That place is going to be fired up to finally have a big group of fans there. Get back to running the football, rely on winning the line of scrimmage. That's what Wisconsin does. But it's a really hard game to pick. You don't know which of these teams are going to show up.
Malussi. I don't even know if that's how you say it. Malussi, Malussi.
That's what I'm going with.
We'll see. Hey, you got a scholarship to Clemson. How bad could it be? Right. I do think clearly it's going to come down to whether or not Wisconsin can run the football, put Graham Mertz in good situations, right? When he's comfortable, kid's got talent. When he's uncomfortable, damn, he will make some mistakes. So that's a fun game, and I will give the Big Ten credit. Good on you, Kevin Warren. These early important conference matchups, man, these are awesome. And they've had a couple of them. Like this is fun. I like it. I like it a lot, Kevin Warren. Keep it going.
No, it's a good trend. This is one of the better week ones in college football that I can really remember. There's usually we'll have one really good game, maybe two, but there's some good stuff out there this week.
We've got number 1 Alabama versus number 14 Miami. That game is in Atlanta. I know Bama lost a ridiculous amount of talent. I get it. Quarterback, receiver, running back, offensive line, a couple guys on defense. Like, I get it. But there's just no way I don't pick Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide in this game. Like, there's no way. And we'll see how De'Aaron King looks coming off the ACL. Like, does he still have that same mobility? It's kind of hard to believe that he would. I mean, it's been a quick turnaround, right? Remember, he got hurt in the bowl game. So Miami's got a lot of experience on the offensive line, but I've been very, very critical of their offensive line play for years now. So I'm not sure how good those guys are coming back. I think Will Anderson is kind of that next dude along the defensive front for Alabama. I think they're going to bother De'Aaron King. I don't think Miami's going to run the ball worth a shit. And I think Bryce Young is going to be one of those guys where we watch him and we go, oh, that guy's good. That's what I'm expecting from that game.
Well, I agree. That's going to be the story. Alabama's going to win. Miami is improved. They're better. I hope Rambo goes off. But the De'Aaron King point that you hit on, I think, is maybe the biggest factor that no one else is really even talking about. Everyone's just kind of penciling in De'Aaron King like he's going to be 100%. We're talking about 8 months, 9 months. That's incredibly fast. Now, I know people come back from ACL a lot quicker than they used to, but to expect a guy who's just now getting back to form to come out and be good enough to beat Alabama, I'm sorry. I don't see it. I don't see it. And if Bryce Young, if we're coming out of this game talking about, well, Alabama's got another stud at quarterback, that's not a good sign for the rest of college football.
I'm going to I'm going to save you some time here, Ted. Bryce Young, he's going to be really damn good.
Billy
really
O'Brien,
damn good.
coordinator, you feel good about it?
Yeah, know a few people inside that program, and I believe one guy told me he's the truth, Ted. So we'll see, but he's got weapons. They got veteran running backs back now. They may not have a Najee Harris yet. We'll see if one of those young guys develops into that. All the guys that were supposed to go to OU are playing running back for him now, if you recall. So we'll see. But yeah, I think Nick Saban and the Tide are going to be just fine. Now, minus 19.5, that's a little disrespectful. I'm not touching that, but I don't think there's any way Miami knocks off Bama. I just ain't happening. I don't care if Manny Diaz is calling the defense. Doesn't matter.
Well, here's the thing. There's no one better at having a team locked in, focused on the details coming out in week one than Nick Saban. Like that's kind of their specialty.
Yeah. He'll somehow have them feeling like they're an underdog, like they're being disrespected. Even though they're number one in the country. He's a master. He's a master at that. Okay. Game of the week for a lot of people. Number 5 Georgia versus number 3 Clemson. I believe this game is in Charlotte at the Panthers Stadium.
Yeah, that's right.
Kind of fun. I know everyone is focused on DJ Uiagalelei and JT Daniels in that quarterback battle. But when these teams get together, when it's a big time game in the opener, I'm always watching the line of scrimmage, right? Yeah. The quarterbacks are important. There's no doubt. I know Georgia has had some OL banged up in training camp. That certainly won't help against the defensive line for Clemson. That is legit. Led by the Brian Breesy kid and Tyler Davis. Like, those dudes can play. But for whatever reason, and I'm not entirely sure why, Ted, I think Zamir White and the rest of that Georgia running back core is going to have some success on the ground in this football game. I think that's going to put JT Daniels in good spots. And I think Clemson's going to struggle to run it. I really do. I think they are going to really miss Travis Etienne moving on. And I look at that Georgia defensive line. Whoo, boy. They got some dudes. It's all led by the big man in the middle, Jordan Davis. For whatever reason, I think the Dogs are going to win this football game. I don't feel great about it. I could be wrong. Clemson could roll. I mean, we don't really know what we have with these two teams until we see them. But for whatever reason, I just think Georgia's going to win the battle at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Clemson's going to roll them. Georgia's got too many injuries right now. Too banged up. Got a lot of guys, missed a lot of camp. I don't know exactly who all's going to be playing and who's not. We'll see that, game time. But too many guys banged up. I think Clemson right now is one of the more disrespected teams in all of college football. Last year Clemson has a down year. They get slaughtered by injury on defense. And I think they were still like a top 15 or 20 defense in the country. The year before that, they were number 1. The year before that, they were number 2. The year before that, they were number 1. The year before that, they were number 2. Okay. They are playing unbelievable defense, and that's about to bounce back. And without all hands on deck, I don't think Georgia's going to have enough. I don't think Daniels is going to be able to light them up. It's going to be way tougher throws, tighter windows, more difficult down and distances. The running game, they're good running the football. They are. But, yeah, I think all of those things lead me to Clemson not only winning, but I think coming out and saying, did people forget about Clemson? Not so fast.
One thing I do hope we see, I hope we see the Justin Ross we remember.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for that
Good
kid,
story.
Man. That's an awesome story. If you don't remember, neck injury, thought his career was probably over. He is back for Clemson, and I think we're all rooting for that kid. My favorite part about this game, like, it's this badass matchup in week 1, and It is the Duke's Mayo Classic. What kind of money does Duke's Mayo? They must sell a lot of mayo, man.
Are you a real
I'm not a mayo
guy?
guy. I'm a ranch dressing man.
Yeah. I do not like, it's not the worst thing ever, but I'm a Miracle Whip guy. Not real mayo.
I don't. I guess if I'm at a restaurant and they listen, one of my things, guys, you can call it aioli if you want. It's mayonnaise. It's fancy mayo. Like it can be a garlic aioli. You sprinkled some garlic on some mayonnaise, okay? But if like an aioli, if a spicy aioli comes on a sandwich or something, like I'm not gonna have them take it off. So it's not like I'm anti mayo. It's just it's pretty far down on my pecking order of condiments. Way down.
Given a choice, that you're not going there. I got you.
Yeah. Okay. This is a game. I'm not going to lie. It may be the most exciting game of the weekend for me because I just want to see what happens. Number 23, Louisiana, traveling to Austin to take on number 21, Texas. A nice, tough opener for our man, Steve Sarkisian and the Longhorns. We'll get our first look at Hudson Card, who was named the starting quarterback for the Longhorns. I am fired up to see how Sark uses Bijan Robinson. It was criminal the way that he was underutilized last season for that team. It sounds like Sark likes what he's seeing from that defense. I was able to talk to him about his defense. He is very high on that defensive line with the Jomo, Alfred Collins. They feel good. Keandre Coburn, they feel good about their defensive front. But Billy Napier brings a veteran team, 20 starters back from a team that went 10-1 last season, and their one loss, I believe it was by 3 points to Coastal Carolina, who was a damn good team under Jamie Chadwell last year. They've got their quarterback back. He is fun to watch. If you haven't watched Levi Lewis play, you are about to be entertained. All I know is there are some Texas fans that are very, very nervous about this one, man.
They should be. They really should be. I saw some people from Texas, like some of their riders and stuff, picking some of the Big 12 games, and someone had Texas winning like 48-10 or something like that. I was like, in what world? Now, obviously Texas, if they're on the screws, they come out and they get all of that talent to finally show up in one place and play together, good solid football. I think they can win the game and win it pretty decently, but I think that's asking a lot. That requires excellent quarterback play, and I'm not sure that they're going to have that. The things for me to watch in this game are exactly what you talked about. How do they use Bijan Robinson? Think he's going to get a lot of carries. You look at how Najee Harris was last year. I think he had like 43 catches out of the backfield last year. So seeing how they get him involved and that defense for Texas, they're going to be good. That coach has done some really good things out at Washington. That was a fantastic hire. We'll see if he can get those guys to play, but I think that they're going to be in a dogfight. The interesting thing to look at coming out of this football game is Hudson Card and his efficiency. You look at the quarterbacks under Sark at Alabama, you're talking about like 75, 77% completions. Last year, Mac Jones had a 203 quarterback rating, and I think Tua had like a 206. So unbelievable stuff with those quarterbacks under Sarkisian. If we see Hudson Card, a guy that I think is just okay, start to have some efficiency numbers that look like that, be worried.
One thing that Sark's quarterbacks at Bama always had was a really good offensive line.
Yep.
Last couple of years,
really everything.
And
that matters.
But
it does.
Good offensive line play can go a long way. Texas's offensive line was one of the more disappointing units in the country for me last year. I had high expectations. Even Cosme didn't play well. And they just took turns throughout games, making mistakes. So have they fixed that? Has Kyle Flood come and really influenced that group? Will they be better along the offensive line, making Hudson Card's life a lot easier? There's a lot I'm going to be looking for in that football game. I've been waiting for that game for months. Yeah. Like, I am fired up to see what Texas looks like against, don't get it twisted, people. Louisiana is good. They are a good football team. So that is a test out of the gate for Sark in that group. So I can't wait to see. Oh man, if they lose, either way, Ted, there is going to be a massive overreaction either way. Like, Texas fans are going to be like, Sark is the savior, or it's going to be like, oh my God, let's fire him. If they win, yeah. Like, it's going to be one or the other. I can't wait.
Well, I don't know if they're going to win this game or not, but I think that they're going to lose either Louisiana or Arkansas. They're going to lose one of those two games. Take your pick. And honestly, if they lose to Louisiana, they may back that up with a loss to Arkansas too, after losing some of that confidence and that mojo.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that happening. I mean, that's tough out of the gate for Sark to start the tenure, Louisiana,
because it's a trip to
Fayetteville. You're supposed to win both games.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose. You beat Louisiana, a good football team. Well, who cares? It's Louisiana. Of course you should beat them. Not even a Power 5 football team. Yeah, good job. Congrats. What do you want to raise? But if you lose to them, it's like, oh my God, how in the world could you lose to Louisiana? That's crazy.
Tough. All right, let's get to our winners. And I'm sorry to Indiana, Iowa. The game just wasn't sexy enough for me. I'm sorry. I didn't put it on the list. Yeah, if you want to say something about it, feel free, Ted. I like Freifogel. I like Penix. Give me Tom Allen in the Hoosiers. He makes me happy. I'm rooting for him.
I hope they continue. It was a fun run last year. Let's see if it was real or if it was just a pandemic situation, catching a bunch of other teams not being themselves.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, let's get to our winners and losers. Are you unhappy with the surface around your pool? Are you not pleased with your patio? Soft Rock specializes in installing safe rubber surfacing for pools, patios, gym floors, and other outdoor spaces. Soft Rock's rubber safety surfacing provides a long-lasting surface, and this is impact and slip resistant, fully customizable, and virtually indestructible. Local business owners Heidi and Cody Clark are avid OU fans that are driven to help you with all of your pool and patio surfacing needs. Visit softrock.com/OKC. That's SOFTROC.com/OKC for more information. The Clarks also own The Driveway Company. The Driveway Company has tailored solutions to eliminate all your driveway problems. They can repair cracks, clean and seal your rotting grass-filled joists to prevent water damage, ultimately saving you thousands of dollars in future repairs. Visit thedrivewaycompany.com/OKC for all of your driveway repair needs. Learn more about SoftRock and the Driveway Company by visiting their Facebook and Instagram pages or by calling 405-294-9834. And if you are looking to buy or sell a house in the OKC metro area, I just used the Ronaldo Cloud Group to sell my old house, and it was so easy and stress-free. Stacia Ronaldo and Maddie Cloud are with Sage Sotheby's International Realty. They believe in prompt communication, an honest relationship, and the luxury service, and that's exactly what they gave me. You can reach them by emailing Stacia at stacia@sagesir.com. That's STACIA@SAGESIR.com, or you can contact them on Instagram at @soldbystacia and @soldbymaddie_. You will not regret using them. As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Well, I thought about going with Deion's son, Shador, getting the Beats by Dre deal, about to make his debut at Jackson State. That's going to be awesome. I even thought about going with Jimbo Fisher, $9 million a year for finishing second in your conference. Pretty impressive. But I had to settle on Tre Norwood, making the roster in Pittsburgh outstanding job by him. We knew it was a rough go last year, missed a ton of time because of contact tracing and all kinds of different things, had to play different positions. But a football player is a football player. You can throw him at corner, you can play him at nickel, safety, all of your special teams. So to hear that he made the team, hear the special teams coach talk about he threw him in a bunch of different spots and he didn't blink. What do you say? Tell them to cut off his eyelids or something like that because you can't blink. And
does not seem like good advice.
No, but I thought that was awesome. Caught some people by surprise, myself included, whenever he opted to head to the NFL. But we watched him there on pro day, and we're talking about the fact that he's a football player, and you can't just look at his times, his numbers. You got to go dig kind of deep into his story, and you'll find that you've got a great player there that's had some really hard circumstances.
Yeah. Good player, battled through adversity. I love when the OU guys make the team. That brought a smile to my face. So fired up for Tre Norwood, and he's going to get some time, man. I mean, they're going to put him on the feet. They're going to put him on the field and some of that dime package stuff. I think we're going to see some Norwood out there, and he'll be on all the special teams units, I'm guessing, Ted. So
yeah.
Fired up for him. That is a big deal. Welcome to the league, Tre Norwood. That a boy.
It's awesome. I mean, he didn't just he didn't just make the team, like the practice squad, to make the 53. Like that is awesome. You're going to be asked to do some stuff. So really amped up for him.
Yeah. All right. Who do you have as your loser of the week?
I had to go with DeChambeau. I hate to pile on here, but
no, full disclosure, I almost went with DeChambeau also. So I'm so glad that you did.
Here's the thing, man. He brings a lot of this on himself, right, with some of his antics. But the fact that the PGA is now going to toss people out of tournaments for saying Brooksy or whatever to Bryson, it makes him look worse. Just the fact that they're doing that, that's going to direct more hatred at DeChambeau. And I get it. I hate that fans are emboldened to feel like they can say whatever they want to an athlete because of how much money they make. That doesn't make it okay to say some of those things to guys. And some things aren't that bad. Saying Brooksy to Bryson DeChambeau is not that bad, but you also don't hear a lot of the other things that people are saying out there, and it's frustrating. And I'm not like backing DeChambeau. I'm just saying that the fact that the PGA is making this rule is going to make it worse for him, not better.
No, Ted. When you tell people not to do something, that doesn't make them want to do it anymore. I mean, come on. That's not how the world works. That's not how drunk dudes work at golf tournaments.
That's crazy. It's going to be a disaster.
It brings me back, and I know I'm not the only one that's had this idea over the years, but it brings me back to my coupon system. Every professional athlete, you should get one coupon from the league that at any point in time, a fan says something crazy to you, you turn, you present the coupon, and you say, I get to fight you.
Right.
Once a year.
I hate it. It's the kind of same thing with the Mets deal. Like, everyone thinks that they should be able to scream whatever they want at players, say some of these most horrible things. But if someone does this, it's like the end of the world. Like, we can't are you kidding me? The thumbs down. No way. It's just laughable. The whole thing's funny.
Yeah. It's the Mets thing. I will say it made me read and watch some stuff about baseball because I was like, oh, really? I like this drama. And I dove into it a little bit.
I thought about putting the Mets in there because their GM DUI 4:15 in the morning on Tuesday. That just throwing more, gas on the fire.
Who gets a DUI at 4:15 on a Tuesday? Golly. All right, for my winner of the week, thought about going with Mac Jones. Man, big time, right? Patriots cut Cam Newton. Bill Belichick continues to be an absolute savage. And now Mac Jones is the guy in New England. And Teddy, I feel like you called this, man. When Cam missed those practices, you and I kind of threw some hits out there. We were like, oh, he's done. And Cam was. And I do think Mac Jones is a better player. I think you have to be able to push the ball down the field. You have to make defenses in the National Football League feel threatened. And that's what Mac Jones can do. I think he's going to be legit.
Yeah. They say decision-making is there. He's really improved. He's got the capable arm. We'll see how it goes. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. He's going to have definitely his tough moments, but I think he'll do a good job too.
Yeah, but I decided to go with another quarterback as my winner of the week. Ted, does the name Zeb Noland sound familiar to you?
Yeah, I remember when Iowa State rolled in with the third string quarterback and kicked our butts.
Yeah. Zeb Noland, he's had some good games in his career. Started at Iowa State, played for North Dakota State, played his last game, or so he thought, in the spring this year when NDSU, they lost in the playoffs there in the FCS. And Zeb Noland decided he wanted to get into coaching. So made some calls and got a GA job with our boy Shane Beamer on his staff at South Carolina. Well, South Carolina's starter, Luke Doty, goes down, and the Gamecocks found themselves in a bit of a pickle and approached Zeb Noland with an idea. And that idea was to come play another year of football because he had another year of eligibility. He said, sure, why not? And competes throughout camp and ends up being their starting quarterback and wins the job. And he will start for South Carolina in their opener against Eastern Illinois this Saturday. We'll see when the Doty kid gets back, but how cool of a story is that? Not a great situation, in my opinion, for our guy Shane Beamer, but a good story nonetheless.
Well, it's going to be even better story if they win. And there's something about stories like this that, people get behind and you feel like something special just might happen. Could be really cool.
National champions, South Carolina Gamecocks.
Let's go.
Zeb Noland. That's kind of hard
I
to
like
say.
Neb Zoland better. I like
Neb Zoland takes them to the title. No, I that's pretty cool for Zeb Noland, and I just feel for our man Shane Beaver, like he didn't have any better options than that.
I know. Seriously, he's going to do awesome though. Beamer is that fan base is fully locked in behind him. He's done a great job so far.
Yeah, for my loser of the week, thought about going with Urban Meyer. Guy he's just got to stop telling the truth. You got to stop telling the truth, Urban. I mean, said vaccination status was factored into roster decisions. And of course it was. We all know that is the case around the league, but you can't say it out loud, Urban. The NFL and the NFLPA agreed that wouldn't play a role in roster decisions. Now he says it, and their whole situation there in Jacksonville is being looked into by the league and the Players Association. Ted, oops.
Come on, they didn't give you the name Urban Liar for nothing. So come on, you got to live up to the name, live up to the reputation. I thought it was funny though that they said today they issued that statement. Well, we didn't release anyone based on that, but everything was looked into. So yeah, which I mean, honestly, you kind of have to. You kind of have to look at that stuff as restrictive as some of those protocols are for the unvaccinated guys. I can understand it being a factor for sure.
Yeah, everything matters.
As unfortunate as it is, I mean, you kind of have to try and put your team in the best position.
Yeah, for my loser of the week, I also thought about going with anybody that criticized Quinn Ewers for skipping his senior year of high school to go to Ohio State because, my God, he has reportedly reached
Cha-ching.
a 3-year deal just for autographs with GT Sports Marketing for $1.4 million. And that's on top of the kombucha money, Ted.
Awesome for him. I love it for him. Great decision to leave high school, big money, but I feel like everyone in the locker room is going to hate him, especially if he's the third team quarterback. And I can't imagine how in the world this is a good business decision for anyone. Like for him, fantastic. But is anyone really going to get like that is a massive risk on a huge unknown. I think CJ Stroud's going to kill it this year.
Maybe Quinn Ewers ends up being better. Like the one thing I keep reminding myself is, okay, what happens if he's the next Trevor Lawrence? Because remember, number one quarterback in the country, what happens if he's the next Trevor Lawrence? What happens if he lives up to his recruiting ranking, all that stuff? If he ends up being that, if he ends up being the number one pick in the draft, like then this was a great investment for GT Sports Marketing. But like you said, that's a big if. But I mean, we'll see. Once again, hey,
it's not his problem.
Not his problem. Right. Not my money. But for my loser of the week, and it has a lot to do with you, Teddy. I'm not going to lie, because my loser of the week, the Detroit Lions. Now, we both played for the organization, and thank you to the Lions for giving us the opportunity. But they blew their chance of them being Teddy Lehman's favorite team in the history of the National Football League. Because Tuesday, they released both of the kickers they had on their roster, Randy Bullock and Zane Gonzalez. And for about 24 hours, we all thought that maybe Dan Campbell just might be crazy enough to go without a kicker. Like maybe he's just crazy enough to do it. And I thought that that would fulfill a lifelong dream of yours, Ted. I don't know anyone that despises kickers quite like you do. I have to assume you enjoyed the hell out of those 24 hours. Maybe the Lions would have just gone for 2 every time that was being discussed. But then Wednesday, they claim our man, Austin Seibert, off of waivers. He is the new kicker for the Detroit Lions. I was heartbroken for you. I was excited for our man Seibert. But at least your dream died because of an OU guy.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a bonus. And it came right after I was moved to tears last week whenever was it the Texans had a defensive back kick off.
Yeah, the Reed guy, and he was
he's good. Yeah, he's actually good. I cried myself to sleep with how awesome that was, seeing a defensive guy out there playing kickoff, which a funny story. I played soccer all the way through high school, had a pretty good leg, and I almost had Brent Venables convinced that I should kick off because no one accounts for the kicker in blocking their kickoff return, and I would be able to run down unblocked and make every single tackle. He honestly was like, that's the greatest idea I've ever seen. So it was awesome, but congrats to Seibert. That was great. I thought Campbell's like, we don't need no damn kickers on this football team.
Kickers aren't players. We don't need those guys. I loved how people were like, well, if anyone would do it, Dan's the guy. I mean,
it's like, hey, you have a defensive guy kick off and just go for 2 every time. You get yourself an extra tight end, Dan, on the roster.
Yeah, and you just find someone that can boot it. Find a Teddy Lehman.
That's it.
And on that note, episode 143 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop Monday morning. Of course, recapping the OU-Tulane game, recapping the big games across the country. Just a reminder, you can hear Teddy from 2 to 6 on 94.7 The Ref.
Yes.
And you can hear me from 3 to 5 on SiriusXM Big 12 Radio, channel 375. Hope you all have a great weekend. Enjoy the game, everybody. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. And do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.